Now, the transfer window remains as busy as ever, with tomorrow's 7 p.m. deadline looming large. But Manchester City look to have gotten even closer to securing a huge signing ahead of that deadline. James Savundra is with me now, not shirking your job. See what I've done there. What's the update?
Well, Manchester City aren't shirking away from making signings before this deadline tomorrow at 7 p.m. because they could be making 3 signings over the course of the next few hours. They've agreed a £34 million deal with Lyon to sign Rayan Cherki, the 21-year-old who made his France debut last week. He started yesterday against Germany as well. Negotiations had been ongoing, but now the race is on. City want to complete a medical and tight personal terms with the player in time for him to be registered to play in the Club World Cup. But he made his debut for Lyon at the age of 16. He's still just 21 years of age, 2-footed, can play centrally off both flanks. He's got a reputation of being a bit of a maverick, so we wait to see how Pep Guardiola looks to manage him. He really impressed against Manchester United in the Europa League last season as well. So it's going to be fascinating to see how he looks to fill the void left by Kevin De Bruyne. Of course, he won't shoulder all that responsibility, but Manchester City have been really busy over the course of the last few weeks. They've been really busy since January, haven't they? Spending more than £170 million in January to bring in players. They said there'd be a new squad for this Club World Cup. Well, it looks like that could be the case. At the same time as trying to seal the signing of Rayan Cherki, they're attempting to complete deals for Ryan Nouri and Tajani Reinders. Those deals have already been confirmed. Medicals have been taking place. They've got that deadline tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Can they get these 3 big bits of business done before then?
Yeah, they could look very different, couldn't they, this coming at the end of the summer? I'm sure Bukayo Saka's watching on from the England camp and interested in this next question. Arsenal looking to bolster up front. What have they done at the moment?
They are, and we know they're looking to sign a striker. All Arsenal fans want them to sign a striker this summer, and we've got a bit of an update because they've held initial talks with RB Leipzig around the signing of Benjamin Sesko, just 22 years of age. Sky in Germany are reporting he's got a release clause in the region of £69 million. Our understanding is he's quite relaxed about the situation. He's not going to try and force this move, but he is attracted by the possibility of playing for Arsenal and in the Champions League, and is flattered by Arsenal's long-standing interest in him. We reported in January that Arsenal were interested. That deal didn't happen then. Perhaps it happens this summer. He's clearly not the finished product. I think the most he's scored it in a Bundesliga campaign is 14, but he has enormous potential. And we were speculating about whether Arsenal would look to go for the finished product, someone like Victor Gyökeres, who they do have interest in, 27 years of age, Sesko 22, but perhaps he has a very, very high ceiling. So fascinating to see whether these talks develop with Benjamin Sesko. At the same time, Rodrigo, we've said that he's a target for Arsenal, the Real Madrid winger. He's one of a number of top targets they're looking at right now. Nico Williams, Morgan Rogers, those are 2 players that have been discussed internally. Bit of an update on Rodrigo. It looks like he's going to be part of Real Madrid's squad for the Club World Cup as things stand. So with him being part of that squad, it suggests that a potential move to Arsenal isn't that close. OK. You talked about great players having lots of potential. Joe Bellingham, I mean, it's genetically in him, isn't it, to be a fantastic player? We saw what he did for Sunderland. In his move going to Dortmund, is that looking... Well, it looks like he's following in the footsteps of Jude Bellingham because he's undergoing a medical with Borussia Dortmund. Sunderland agreeing a deal worth £27.8 million. That's after Bellingham helped Sunderland return to the Premier League at Wembley last month. 19 years of age. Jude was just 17 when he made the move. Jude had a brilliant 3 years in the Bundesliga at Dortmund before going to Real Madrid. And Dortmund also play in the Club World Cup, so they've got a similar deadline. They need to get this wrapped up by tomorrow evening if they want Joe Bellingham to be part of their Club World Cup squad.
Wow, OK. And then just finally, we don't know whether Cristiano Ronaldo was reading a good book or what, but basically last week he said this chapter's over. What's going on? Because it might not be. Well,
it looks like the chapter is set to continue potentially because Cristiano Ronaldo has given a clear indication that he's set to remain in the Saudi Pro League and at Al Nassr. His contract expires at the end of this month, but he spoke to the media after Portugal's victory against Spain last night in the Nations League and suggested he would not be moving on. He was asked about his future and said practically nothing is going to change. When asked if that meant he'll stay at Al Nassr, he said yes. And this does perhaps come as a surprise because, as you mentioned on X last week, he said chapter is over, which was a suggestion many felt that he was on his way out. And Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, claimed that Ronaldo could play for a club at the Club World Cup because we have this first window, the transfer window, is closes tomorrow. And Ronaldo admitted on Saturday that there had been discussions, there had been approaches about potentially moving to a club playing in the Club World Cup, which starts on Saturday. But he said he made up his mind not to play in the Club World Cup. So he's given a very clear indication that he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay in the Saudi Pro League. So what needs to happen now is tie up a new deal with Al Nassr.
OK, so stories ongoing there as well. OK, brilliant as always. Thank you very much, James. There'll be lots more transfer discussion and developments. The Transfer Show returning for you at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. And we're going to bring you Transfer Centre from 7 a.m. tomorrow as we count down to the end of the summer's first transfer window. The deadline, as James was saying, is 7 p.m. tomorrow night.